Hello, and welcome. It's a privilege to speak with you today. We've all seen headlines like "This morning habit can triple your stroke risk after 60. It's a frightening headline. And frankly, it's designed to be. It makes you question every single thing you do from the moment your alarm goes off. But here, we don't deal in fear. We deal in facts. For those of us over 50, 60, and beyond, understanding our cardiovascular health isn't optional. It's the absolute key to a vibrant, independent, and long life. So, is that headline true? What is this single dangerous habit? In this video, we are going to provide the clear, science-based answers. There are no magic pills or one-second fixes here. Instead, we are going to explore the real science of your body's morning transition. We'll discuss the morning blood pressure surge, orthostatic hypotension, and the critical first signs of a TIA or stroke that you must not ignore. Before we begin, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more credible, no-hype health information. And I'd love to know where you're watching from. Please comment below with your city, state, or country. It's always wonderful to see how far this health community reaches. Let's get started. Alright, let's start by addressing that very provocative claim. Does your stroke risk truly triple in the morning? The answer isn't a simple yes or no, but it is rooted in very real, very established human biology. The truth is, the morning hours are a statistically more vulnerable time for cardiovascular events, including stroke. This isn't a new discovery. For decades, large-scale epidemiological studies, the kind you see published in premier journals like Stroke or the American Heart Association Circulation, have confirmed a clear pattern. When researchers map out when cardiovascular events happen, they consistently find a significant spike in the morning hours, generally between 6 a.m. and noon. But why? It's not a mystery. It's a natural biological process often called the morning surge. Think of it this way: while you sleep, your body is in a state of rest. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure dips, and your blood vessels are relaxed. To prepare you to wake up and face the day, your brain's internal clock, your circadian rhythm, triggers the release of a cocktail of hormones, including adrenaline and cortisol. This hormonal surge causes your heart to beat faster, your blood vessels to tighten, and your blood pressure to rise. For someone who already has risk factors, like hypertension, this natural surge can place a sudden, significant strain on the system. This brings us to our first core tip: understand that your body is in a vulnerable physiological state upon waking. Your goal is to make the transition from sleep to wakefulness as gradual and gentle as possible. We want to ramp up the day, not jolt into it. And our critical warning: do not panic or become afraid of the morning. Fear and anxiety are, in themselves, a form of stress on your heart. The risk is real, but it is also highly manageable. Knowledge is your best defense. So we've established that your body is already managing a morning surge of stress hormones and rising blood pressure. Now, let's talk about the one physical habit that can turn this vulnerable state into a dangerous one. It's a habit many of us have been practicing for 50 years without a second thought: jumping out of bed. When you've been lying flat all night, and you suddenly bolt upright to a standing position, one word explains what happens: gravity. Gravity pulls a significant amount of your blood down into your legs and lower body. In a perfect world, your body's autonomic nervous system instantly compensates. It constricts blood vessels and speeds up your heart just enough to keep blood pressure stable and ensure your brain gets plenty of oxygen. But as we get older, or if we're on certain blood pressure medications, this response can be slower. When that system fails to compensate fast enough, it has a medical name: orthostatic hypotension. This is that sudden feeling of dizziness, lightheadedness, or seeing stars when you stand up too fast. What's happening in that moment is called cerebral hypoperfusion, a fancy term meaning your brain is temporarily not getting enough oxygen-rich blood. This is dangerous. It's a major risk for falls, but for someone already in that high-risk morning window, it can also put immense stress on the cardiovascular system. This leads us to our core tip: practice the dangle technique. Tomorrow morning, when your alarm goes off, do not stand up. Instead, just sit up and swing your legs over the side of the bed. And then, just sit there. Let your feet dangle for 60 to 90 seconds. Take a few deep breaths. Pump your ankles up and down to help push that blood back towards your heart. Then, place your hands on your knees or a sturdy nightstand, and stand up slowly. And our critical warning: dizziness is not a normal part of aging. It is a symptom. If you frequently feel lightheaded or dizzy when you stand up, you must report this to your doctor. It could be a sign of an underlying issue, or it could be a side effect of your medication. Do not ignore it. We have just covered the physical mechanical stress of getting up too quickly. Now, we must discuss the chemical state of your blood first thing in the morning. And that state, in one word, is dehydrated. Think about it. You've just gone 7, 8, or perhaps 9 hours without a single sip of water. Even if you don't feel thirsty upon waking, your body is, by definition, dehydrated. This isn't just about a dry mouth. This has a direct and immediate effect on your entire cardiovascular system. When your body is low on water, your plasma volume, that's the liquid part of your blood, decreases. What happens then? Your blood becomes thicker, more concentrated, and more viscous. The principles of hematology, and research from organizations like the American Heart Association, are very clear on this. Thicker blood does not flow as easily through your arteries and veins. This viscosity increases the risk of a thrombotic event, which is the medical term for a blood clot. And as we know, a clot is the cause of the vast majority of strokes, known as ischemic strokes. This is by far the simplest and most powerful habit you can adopt, and it can start tomorrow. Our core tip is, keep a glass of water on your nightstand. Make it part of your dangle routine. While you are sitting on the edge of the bed for that 90-second pause, drink it. Aim for 8 to 12 ounces of room temperature water. Do this before your feet hit the floor, and crucially, do this before you have your first cup of coffee. Coffee is a diuretic, which can make you lose more fluid. Hydrate first, always. Now, this advice comes with one extremely important exception. Our critical warning: if you have been diagnosed with congestive heart failure, CHF, or specific types of kidney disease, you may be on a strict fluid restriction diet. In that case, do not change your fluid intake without speaking to your doctor. You must always follow your physician's specific advice on hydration. For everyone else, that glass of water is non-negotiable. We've now built a solid morning routine: gentle waking, the dangle technique, and immediate hydration. These habits reduce your risk. But now, we must talk about recognition. The original, frightening headline mentioned the first signs. This is the most critical information in this entire video, as it moves from prevention to emergency response. Often, these first signs are not a massive, debilitating stroke. They are what we call a TIA, a transient ischemic attack. Many people call this a mini-stroke. A TIA is when a clot temporarily blocks an artery to the brain. The symptoms are identical to a major stroke, but they are temporary. They might last for only 5 or 10 minutes and then disappear completely. This is where the danger lies. People feel the symptom, it goes away, and they think, "Phew, that was strange," and they go on with their day. This is a catastrophic mistake. To recognize these signs, the American Stroke Association has endorsed a simple, powerful acronym, F.A.S.T. B stands for balance. A sudden loss of balance or coordination. E stands for eyes. Sudden blurred vision, double vision, or a loss of vision in one or both eyes. F stands for face. Ask the person to smile. Does one side of the face droop? A stands for arms. Ask the person to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S stands for speech. Is their speech slurred? Are they unable to repeat a simple sentence? T stands for time. Time to call 911 immediately. Our core tip is simple. Memorize BFAST, write it down. Put it on your refrigerator. Teach it to your spouse, your children, and your friends. Your family must know what to do if you cannot speak for yourself. And our critical warning, which I cannot say strongly enough, a TIA is a warning stroke. It is a medical emergency, even if the symptoms vanish. The risk of a major permanent stroke is highest in the hours and days immediately following a TIA. Do not wait. Do not sleep on it. You must go to an emergency room. We've just discussed the critical importance of recognizing a warning stroke, or TIA. That event is most often caused by a blood clot blocking flow to the brain. A logical, vital question is, where do these clots come from? For millions of adults, the answer is a specific heart condition called atrial fibrillation, or AFib. Atrial fibrillation is the most common type of irregular heartbeat, or arrhythmia. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, it is a major risk factor. People with AFib are about 5 times more likely to have a stroke than those without it. But how does a heart rhythm cause a stroke? Let's make this very clear. In a healthy heart, all 4 chambers beat in a steady, even rhythm. In a heart with AFib, the upper chambers, the atria, quiver or fibrillate. They beat chaotically, like a drum without a rhythm. Because of this chaotic beat, blood doesn't get pumped out of these chambers completely. It can pool and stagnate. And when blood pools, it forms clots. These clots can then break free, travel through the bloodstream, and lodge in an artery leading to the brain, causing a major, often devastating stroke. The challenge with AFib is that you need to know if you have it. This brings us to our core tip: learn to take your own pulse. You don't need fancy equipment. Place 2 fingers on your wrist or on the side of your neck. Count the beats for 30 seconds and multiply by 2. But more importantly than the number, feel for the rhythm. Is it steady and regular, like a clock? Or does it feel erratic, skipping beats, or fluttering? Many new smartwatches and home blood pressure monitors now have irregular heartbeat detectors. If you ever feel a fluttering, or if your pulse feels off, you must bring it up with your physician. Ask them for a formal EKG. And this leads to our critical warning, which is the very reason AFib is so dangerous. You may not feel it. Many people with atrial fibrillation are asymptomatic. They have silent AFib. They feel no fluttering, no palpitations, no shortness of breath. They feel perfectly fine, all while their stroke risk is 5 times higher. This is precisely why regular checkups with your doctor are non-negotiable. This is a condition you screen for, not one you wait to feel. We have covered the critical medical and mechanical risks, from TIA to AFib. Now, let's turn our attention to the kitchen. What you choose to eat within the first hour of waking can either help calm that morning surge we talked about, or it can amplify it. The primary culprit we must discuss is one that is often hiding in plain sight: sodium. Let's be very clear about what happens. When you consume a high-sodium meal, it triggers your body to retain water. This, in turn, increases the total volume of blood in your bloodstream. More volume pushing through the same set of pipes, your arteries, means higher blood pressure. Doing this first thing in the morning, when your blood pressure is already on its natural rise, is like adding fuel to an already burning fire. This isn't just speculation, it's the entire foundation of the DASH diet, which stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. It's one of the most respected, heavily researched dietary patterns in the world. But here is the blunder we mentioned. Most people think, I'm fine, I don't eat bacon or sausage. The real danger is the hidden sodium in foods we are told are healthy. Your morning slice of bread, your healthy bran cereal, your cottage cheese, many of these are absolutely loaded with sodium. A single slice of bread can have more sodium than a small bag of chips. This leads to our core tip: fight sodium with potassium. Potassium is a magnificent mineral that helps your body excrete excess sodium and helps relax your blood vessel walls. Think of adding a banana or a handful of berries to your oatmeal. Put spinach, mushrooms, or avocado in your eggs. And our critical warning: the American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for most adults over 50. Not per meal, per day. You must become a sodium detective. You have to read the labels. We have just covered the power of food, and specifically sodium and potassium, in managing your morning blood pressure. This next topic, however, is arguably the most important component of your entire prevention strategy: your medication. We must talk about what is often called medication adherence. That is a clinical term for a very simple idea: taking your prescribed medication exactly as your doctor has instructed. The single biggest morning habit that can increase stroke risk is not a habit you do, but one you don't do. It is the habit of skipping, forgetting, or second-guessing your medication. If you are on a blood pressure medication, or a statin for cholesterol, or most critically, a blood thinner for AFib, these medications are not optional. They are your primary, frontline defense. Countless studies, including those published in the New England Journal of Medicine, draw a direct and terrifying line between non-adherence, skipping your meds, and a sharp immediate increase in strokes and heart attacks. Here is the mistake we often make. We check our blood pressure, it's normal, so we think, oh, I'm fine, I don't need my pill today. This is a critical misunderstanding. Your blood pressure is normal because the medication is working. Taking it away is what allows the disease to take hold. This brings us to our core tip: link your medication to a habit you never forget. Use a 7-day pill organizer and place it right next to your toothbrush, or next to your water glass, or your coffee maker. Set a daily, non-negotiable alarm on your phone. Make it an automatic part of your morning dangle, hydrate, and medicate routine. And our critical warning: never ever stop taking your medication just because you feel fine. High blood pressure is called the silent killer for a reason. You cannot feel it. And you must never stop a blood thinner abruptly. If you are having side effects or if the cost is a problem, talk to your doctor. But do not, under any circumstances, make that decision on your own. We've now covered the physical, chemical, and medical pillars of a safe morning routine. We've discussed hydration, sodium, and the non-negotiable importance of medication. But there is one more piece of this puzzle, and it's one we all feel: stress. Both the stress of a poorly slept night and the stress we invite in the first few minutes of being awake. Let's talk about a hormone called cortisol. You've probably heard it called the stress hormone. As we discussed in part 2, cortisol is part of that natural morning surge. It's what helps you wake up. But when you are under chronic, daily stress, or critically, when you are not sleeping well, your body starts the day with an exaggerated cortisol spike. It's an overreaction. This floods your system, further constricting blood vessels and spiking your blood pressure, right at the moment you are already most vulnerable. This is especially true for an incredibly common and underdiagnosed condition: obstructive sleep apnea. If you are waking up all night, gasping for air, even if you don't know you're doing it, your body is in a state of panic for 8 hours. You wake up with your blood pressure already sky high. This gives us a 2-part core tip. First, at night, create a wind-down routine. Turn off the news, put the phone away, and allow your brain to prepare for rest. Second, in the morning, create a buffer. Before you check your email or the news headlines, give yourself just 5 minutes. Practice deep breathing, do some gentle stretches, or simply sit quietly and drink your glass of water. Do not start your day in a state of reaction. And this leads to our most critical warning for this section: do not ignore chronic snoring. Snoring is not just a normal part of aging or something to laugh about. If your partner tells you that you gasp, choke, or stop breathing in your sleep, or if you wake up exhausted after a full night's rest, you must ask your doctor for a sleep apnea screening. It is a major, treatable, and life-threatening risk factor for both stroke and heart disease. We have covered a significant amount of information today. We took that very frightening headline and, I hope, replaced that fear with knowledge and empowerment. We've learned that it's rarely one single habit that triples your risk. Instead, it is a cluster of manageable, interconnected factors: the morning blood pressure surge, the risk of orthostatic hypotension from getting up too fast, the impact of dehydration, and the silent risks of AFib and hypertension. The most important lesson is this: your body needs and deserves a gentle transition from sleep to wakefulness. The first 30 minutes of your day are critical. Please remember, this is not about achieving perfection overnight. It's about consistency. A long, vibrant, and healthy life is built one small decision at a time, one day at a time. The changes we discussed: drinking water, dangling your feet, reading a sodium label, these are small, but their cumulative effect is profound. So my question for you is, what is one new habit you will start tomorrow morning based on what you've learned today? Please comment below with your new habit. I read as many comments as I can. If you found this video valuable, please like it and share it with a friend, a sibling, or a family member. You truly never know whose life you might change. Thank you so much for investing this time in your health. Be well.